Welcome back to the channel. All right, here's what we're going to do today. All right, we're going to go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, EGLD, and Cardano. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot going on with the SEC and their lawsuits against Coinbase and Binance and their listing of numerous DeFi assets as securities that has really impacted the market. So that's also going to impact our analysis. Now, if you want all the details on what's going on with the SEC, watch my last video. I talked only about that and went over everything, explained what securities are, and explained what I think is their argument, and along with that, what I think may happen to the DeFi market because of it. So make sure you check that video out if you haven't already. But let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start with Bitcoin. So the first thing that we see on the Bitcoin chart is obviously that we've fallen out of the golden pocket. Now, if you're seeing my videos for the first time, the golden pocket is essentially a long-term trend reversal area. You can basically see that we were in a huge downtrend. That's our bear market. And now we have this golden pocket area in the middle. This is the area that's highlighted in a light blue. Now, this is essentially telling us that once we fall below this, the trend has reversed. That is your chart confirmation from a long period. Essentially, now when we re-interact with that golden pocket area, this is where we may be looking at a trend shift again to go back into a bull phase. But what you can see here now when we zoom in, and keep in mind, we're on the daily chart. When we zoom in here, you can see we've clearly dropped below the golden pocket now after all this latest SEC debacle news. Now, this area here at the 200 exponential moving average, the 25.275K, so 25,275, that is the area where the 200 exponential moving average hits. You can see that. That's the red moving average coming up. Now, this is the key area we're looking at right now for support. If we do not get support here and we fall below this level, well, look forward to Bitcoin going down to anywhere between 22,600 and right around 24,000. That area here that's in the purple is going to be our longer term support zone. This is where we got a lot of volume trading, and we had really, you can see the volume here really list this as an area where we had a lot of volume that's going to turn back into support. So that's where we're looking for support if we go more to the downside, which we very well could because we don't know what's happening right now with the DeFi markets. Now, what's interesting with DeFi markets is that as people sell out DeFi, a lot of them tend to shift into Bitcoin. So technically, we could see Bitcoin rise here and see more dominance, but we're just unsure with everything going on in the markets today and the fact that we're still in a global liquidity crunch. At the most, right now, what I would be doing is looking at that 25,200 level and putting orders in below that. So right now, my orders sit somewhere below 25K, between 24 and 25 right now. I'm kind of targeting this zone for short-term buys if I start to see it drop. And right now, we don't have confirmation. We're literally waiting for it. So I'm kind of watching this. I also see the RSI down here. We have right now hit the 45 level. So whether or not we hold that 45 level is pretty key. If we fall below that 45 level, that's going to correlate with the drop below 25,200 and coming back down into this 24K level, which is a terrific buy zone in my opinion. I'd be looking to buy all the way down here. I just haven't set any orders there yet. Basically, the thing for Bitcoin right now on the upside is we want to see ourselves go back into this golden pocket area. Right now, unfortunately, our 20 exponential is starting to curve down, and that's showing us we may be going into another, kind of distribution type area where people start selling and we start to see Bitcoin kind of go back into that sideways momentum. And you could see trading between 24 and around 27,000, this wide range here. At the moment, that's all we can really see on the Bitcoin chart. There's nothing major else. We're in an uptrend still. We're still holding that uptrend, but this is really the key area now to see if we fall below 25.2K. So I'm using it just as an opportunity to set my lower buy orders. All right, let's move on. We're going to take a look at Ethereum now. Now, with Ethereum's chart, we see a couple of things, right? Ethereum was in a clear downtrend for a long period of time during the bear. And then starting 2023, like right around January, it saw a huge pump back up to 1,500, and we've kind of held that level. In reality, if you look at Ethereum and you look at Bitcoin, the charts are very, very similar. You're actually seeing Ethereum kind of correlate with Bitcoin right now, which is kind of interesting because even during this DeFi scare, Ethereum really didn't get affected much. It looks like people think that the SEC are just alluding to other DeFi assets than Ethereum and maybe treating Ethereum as a commodity. I'm not convinced of that yet. I think the SEC would probably target Ethereum as well. So I am looking at potential downside for Ethereum if market sentiment starts to shift. So for Ethereum, I'm looking right now at main support at 1730. That's where the 200 exponential is. But if we fall below that very quickly, 1530 becomes our support level. If we fall below that, 1220 becomes a support level. So there's 3 clear levels for Ethereum. I think the smartest thing to do right now is to set lower buy orders somewhere in the 1500 to 1600 range if you want to start accumulating, possibly even in this $1,400 to $1,300 range. But I wouldn't put too many large orders here yet. We just don't know, right? If there's any more selling from larger DeFi holders and they target Ethereum, I think Ethereum very quickly could drop to this 1500, 1600 level. So I think it's worth setting orders there if you're trying to accumulate. Overall, until we see a real break to this uptrend, it looks like it's following Bitcoin. So I'd be looking more at the Bitcoin charts as well to see what you think is going to happen there, because more than likely Ethereum is going to follow it. Either way, good time to set some of your buy orders, especially at this 1530 level and 1220 level, like in between those. Look at those as targets. I usually set my buy orders a little bit higher than my target. So if I'm looking at 1530, my orders are probably going to be somewhere around 1550 to 1600. If I'm looking at 1220, my orders are probably going to be somewhere around 1250 to 1300. Anyways, let's move on now. We're going to look at EGLD. And the thing I want you to keep in mind is when we're looking at EGLD and Cardano, compare them to the charts you're seeing here, how Bitcoin's moving in one direction and how Ethereum is so correlated to it. Now we go over to EGLD and you can see completely different, right? We've never broken out of the actual downtrend. We're still in the descending channel. You see this red dashed line? This is kind of the level I'm looking at for purchasing. So we're in that purchasing zone right now. But because of everything that's happening with DeFi, I definitely think it's possible that we hit that $26 level. It could happen. So for EGLD, if you're looking to accumulate, those are the areas I'd be looking at. But I would be very, very careful with accumulation of all DeFi assets right now, just because whatever's happening in the United States with the SEC could impact prices further. And if they do, and you're looking to accumulate, well, you're looking for the best price. So I wouldn't really go all in right here. What I would do is whatever I'm looking to accumulate over the next 6 months, I would start DCAing it, right? Or whatever I'm looking to accumulate now, I would split that across like 3 months and start looking at these areas here as this trends down. Right now, the bottom I'm looking at is around 27. Well, come September, that would be down to 24. So you have really a good range between like $25 and $29 to set orders and look to accumulate there. As far as going below that, it's definitely possible, but there's just no chart data to tell us where the bottom is at that point. That's when it gets scary. So DeFi, incredibly risky at the moment just because of what's going on in the States and what's going on in the world, right? There's not a ton of liquidity coming into the DeFi market right now, which means that if there's not a ton of global liquidity coming in, there aren't a lot of people waiting to buy. And then you have this stuff going on in the US causing a lot of sell pressure. Well, what do you have? You have sell pressure and you have a lack of buy pressure, which means that the asset would drop. So this is kind of where EGLD and even things like Cardano are sitting right now. So for right now, EGLD for me, it's still one of the few that I accumulate, but I'm accumulating way, way less. I've halted all accumulations of DeFi assets for the last 2 weeks. I may not resume for another month or so, or sometime within the month as I start seeing where the markets are going. For right now, I have, and when I say I mean like spot accumulation, right? I'm not doing like daily purchases or anything like that. Instead, I'm setting limit orders at the areas where I think it may hit and I feel like it's a value purchase. So for EGLD right now, I have orders sitting at 26 and I've actually gone a little bit below all the way to 24 just because I want to see if it goes there, I might as well get it. I don't know what the SEC is going to do next, so I'm taking precautions to get things cheaper. Anyways, let's move on from EGLD and we're going to go to Cardano. Now with Cardano, you can see it's a little different, right? Cardano was in that descending channel. So compared to EGLD, you can see EGLD's still in the descending channel. But because Cardano had has more general adoption and users coming in, users were getting more bullish and you started to see the asset move. And when the asset moved, you actually saw what you really want to see. You wanted to see a bounce on that descending channel. That was a pretty great move, right? When it bounced up here for all of 2023, it was really trading above the descending channel and made everyone believe that, hey, here we're going to consolidate and we're going to jump up. So everyone was kind of expecting Cardano to move up. As soon as the SEC news came, it created a ton of sell pressure and it's still there. and Cardano started to drop. So for Cardano right now, the key is to not enter this descending channel. The descending channel is really the key buy zone. If you really want to pick up Cardano and you think you can get it at a low price, then I would be somewhere between the 15 to 25 cent area as a really low target buy zone, but you may just lock up liquidity in those orders that may never hit. I would say right now, if you're going to place orders, I wouldn't blame you. It could go down that far. But for right now too, I'm looking at a real key accumulation zone at around 22 cents because that's the top of this descending channel. The descending channel continues to move, so it's still a data point. And when I look at that data point, I see it did bounce off the top of that descending channel, meaning it's a valid data point. So if it drops again, what you want to see is that we start to set an uptrend. We don't keep going below the descending channel. So you want to basically see price above 22 cents if it drops further. So right now, if you want a safe bet to pick up Cardano, I'd be looking between 25 to 27 cents. If you want a bet that may lock up your liquidity a little more, but give you a lower price, then you're looking somewhere between like 16 cents and 21 cents. But, you know, that's another 50% drop to go down to 16. So I don't really know if it's going to go there, but at the very least, you have an idea of what to look at for a bottom level. This descendant channel is really targeting what would be a potential bottom for Cardano if we start to continue having bad news, especially while retail markets and other markets have not been driven back into DeFi purchasing yet. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm looking for with everything. Sorry, I couldn't give you more bullish news, but right now the market sentiment is just low. So we have to take that into account and be realistic about what we're looking at. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'll have more analysis for you later this week, and we'll try our best to keep it short like this and go over a bunch of different assets in a short period of time. I'll catch you all soon. Hit me up on Twitter if you have questions. Leave me some comments. I'll catch you later. Peace.